morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching or listening to this, I hope you're having an amazing day. So, welcome back to the Built for More podcast, episode 23 of the Mindset series. Well, this is the fourth episode of the Mindset series, which is all about discomfort, or so much so how comfort and how people seek comfort is actually holding you back in a lot of areas of your life. But quick kind of like little summary of what has been going on with me. So we are on week 2 of prep. By the time I check in on Tuesday, at the rate that I am going at, I'll probably end up losing 2 kilograms, which I was 58 kilograms. That is quite a lot of weight to lose in a small period of time, and I have a little bit more to go as well. I need to get roughly down to about 48 kilograms, or I think it's going to be about like 46, 48. But obviously it's more so about a look on stage. When I was 6 pounds away from what would have been my show weight, I was 48 kilograms. I'm kind of, fucking hoping I've built muscle since then. So I'm guessing it's going to be around 46 to 48 kilograms, which will be the weight that I'll be on stage. Last time that I was on stage, I was also 48 kilograms, but I competed in fitness model. And fitness model isn't as conditioned as PCA when I'm on stage with them, and also with Two Bros as well. I'm going to have to get a lot leaner, but obviously because 2021 was the last time I competed, I have built a lot more muscle than what I had then, which is great. Especially my back as well. My back's absolutely blown up since last time I competed. So that'll of course mean that I'll have a heavier stage weight, or be roughly about the same stage weight with more muscle. So I'm really excited to see how I get on this week with prep, if any changes are brought in, and then just continue ticking the boxes as well. At the moment, I won't call it hungry. I'm getting a lot of cravings. Now, for me, hunger, I think because I have been to extreme levels of low body fat, and I have felt hunger. Because a lot of people be like, "Oh, I'm hungry," but they're not really hungry. There's no physical symptoms of them being hungry. When I say to them, okay, for example, if I have a client and they say that they're hungry, and usually. You sometimes, depending on how hungry they're saying, I'll ask them what their physical symptoms of hunger are. And a lot of the time they'll be like, "Oh, what do you mean by physical symptoms?" And I'm like, "You're not hungry then. You're just wanting X, Y, and Z." And right now, that's where I'm at. I just want X, Y, and Z. I'm not overly hungry. I'm just craving things. And that's because my body knows that the things that I'm craving are a quick source of energy. They're calorie-dense foods that I'm having. And because I'm in a calorie deficit at the moment, I'm quite a harsh calorie deficit. And because I'm on week 2 at the moment, my body's kind of like, "Oh shit, we're going into a drought. We need some energy quick so that she doesn't starve to death, not that I'm going to starve to death." So my body's starting to go right, okay, what are the calorie-dense foods that I know will give me a boost of energy straight away? So that's a natural thing, and it's a very normal thing to happen on a diet. And I'm not even balls deep in prep. I know for me, the thing that pisses me off most the thing that I find toughest when I'm in a dieting phase is when I start to get low energy, which now I don't have at all. And I always say unless I'm crying over a rice cake, or if my coach was to be like, "We'll have a couple of rice cake," and I'll be ecstatic and get emotional about it. I remember getting emotional when I cut for my photo shoot last October. I remember carving up the week before the photo shoot, and I got given a shit ton of rice, a shit ton of potato, and I remember getting really emotional about it. I know I am hungry when I am at that point. Right now, I know yesterday at the end of the day, I just didn't have any appetite at all, so I didn't have my last meal. I still hit my calories, but I didn't have my last meal because I had fuck all appetite, and the thought of eating chicken and sweet potato, I was like, ugh, it just sounds so boring. And when you are like that, folks, just as a general thing for anyone dieting, if you are like, "Oh, I don't fancy that," you are not hungry. You are not hungry if you say "Oh, I'm not fancying that," because I know when I'm balls deep in prep, I'll be like, "Okay, just give me anything. I don't care, just give me anything." That is a sign of true hunger. Whereas if you're kind of getting fussy about food, you're not hungry. You are not hungry. It's like me with me getting my extra rice cake and crying about it. because I'm not there, I know I'm not hungry, I know I'm craving, and that is pretty much what's going on. Because when I am thinking about food, I was even saying to John before, I was like, I just, because it's Easter when I'm filming this podcast, I was saying to John, like, I just want a cream egg, and John was like, you know what, it's not fucking worth 200 calories, and I was like, I know. Because I'm on my rest day calories today, and I'm 1,600, which I know isn't fucking low. I know it's going to get lower than that. But it's just not worth 200 calories. My rest day calories. It's really not. So it's just like, it's whatever. The cream eggs are still good. I've got fucking loads of cream eggs in, not our freezer, but John's dad's freezer. I know the cream eggs are still gonna be there. I know I'm going to scoff them all. Like, I know it'll be fine. It's just a temporary thing, just to get me to stage. Tick that box, and then I'll have my cream eggs. And I keep on laughing to my clients as well, because I keep on saying, like, by the time I'm off stage and I'm not competing, eggs will be fucking back on the shelves anyway. So that's how quickly, like, life goes. So, because I remember, like, I'm sure it was like as soon as Halloween finished, Easter eggs were on the shelves. And my last show is on the 20th of September. Depending on how well or shit I do in my first show, I might end up doing a third show. That third show is mid-October, and then Easter eggs will be on the shelf. So I'm not worried about that at all. Anyway, right, back to the podcast. Today, just like I was saying before, we're going to be talking about discomfort and how it's what most people avoid. But as a high achiever, as someone who's wanting to achieve all the goals, whether that's in terms of, well, if you listen to this, fitness, physique-based goals, health-based goals, potentially you're trying to improve your quality of life, potentially you're trying to maybe build a business, like have a successful relationship or relationships in terms of friends, but whatever that may be, save up enough money to get a house. If you want to achieve anything good and anything that's worthwhile, we need to embrace discomfort. This is only going to help you on your journey and not hinder you. By just continuously embracing comfort, it's going to hinder you from your goals. It's going to slow you down, which I know most people that I talk to don't want to be slowed down. They want to be sped up. So if you feel stuck in your fitness journey, if you know you're capable of more but you keep on playing small, and if you catch yourself avoiding things that challenge you on a day-to-day basis, maybe even a monthly basis, this episode is for you, because at the end of the day, comfort is the enemy of your growth. So like I was saying before, the body you want, the confidence you want, the life that you want, none of it will exist inside your comfort zone. So today I'm going to go through why staying comfortable is keeping you average, and how pushing yourself, both mentally and physically, is the key to leveling up in every single area of your life. So why exactly is comfort holding you back? So as humans, our brain is wired for comfort. This is very, very normal. It's something that goes back to when we were bloody cavemen, because at the end of the day, our brain is trying to keep us safe. Like, I know I've spoken about like hunger and appetite and stuff like that, and that's the feeling of hunger that we get. It's normal because our brain wants to keep us safe and prevent us from starving to death. But our brain tries to keep us safe in every single way, and that's where our brain is wired for comfort comes in, like keeping us well fed, keeping us sheltered, keeping us safe, keeping us away from anything that pushes us outside our comfort zone. And this is to avoid pain and to stay in familiar routines. But the problem with this is that growth and developing and becoming our best selves only will ever happen if and when we step into discomfort, because with that discomfort, we both physically and mentally will adapt to that. The human body and the human brain is absolutely incredible, and it will always adapt to the stress that it is placed under, or that you purposely put it under as well. So if, for example, you are a caveman, you're getting chased by a lion, you're not choosing, well, cavemen wouldn't choose to put themselves through that discomfort, but by going through that and surviving that, our bodies will get stronger, will get quicker, and all of that jazz to be able to handle running away from a lion if it ever happens again. And it's the same when we're in the gym as well. So for example, your workouts, if you're not pushing past what feels easy, and you know those hard reps, like if you're stopping as soon as the weight and the reps start feeling hard, your body doesn't have a reason to change, because you're not giving it a reason to change. Whereas, for example, if you're pushing to failure, your body goes, oh shit, we need to get stronger, we need to adapt, we need to build more muscle mass, we need to get stronger. And again, from that comes that physical growth as well, and the physical growth in terms of strength depending on how your training is set up. Same with your habits as well. If you continue to keep defaulting to what feels comfortable, so for example, skipping workouts, skipping meals, eating mindlessly, avoiding challenges, you will stay stuck in that routine if you're not challenging yourself and pushing yourself out of that comfort zone. And it's the same with your mindset as well. Like, if you avoid discomfort in fitness, chances are you'll avoid discomfort in other areas as well. So for example, I speak to people on my Instagram, but also my own clients as well. When they jump onto the team, they might say, "Hey, I have a bit of gym anxiety. What do I do to get around X, Y, and Z?" And as you've probably gathered, I am very direct. I am very upfront, and I'll say there's no special hack that we can get to get around gym anxiety besides pushing through it. And maybe it's like we build ourselves up. So, for example, you do a dumbbell only workout in the corner, but then you do that dumbbell, you get comfortable with that dumbbell only workout, so you know exactly how to perform your training, your exercise, etc. And then you move it over into the centre of the gym. And then what you start to do is start to do 1 and 2 variations of some of the exercise that you're doing, and then you start to do bigger barbell exercises. You go into like the more, I wouldn't call it like a massive part in the gym, but you know what I mean, with all the dumbbells and stuff like that. So instead of being in the corner, you actually go into the weights area, you get a bench, like, and you're pushing yourself out your comfort zone. But every time that you're like pushing yourself out your comfort zone, you will feel that discomfort, you will feel that gym anxiety, and that is normal because you're in a place that you're unfamiliar with. So it's not something that's negative. Basically, you're putting yourself in an unfamiliar position, and you have to essentially reaffirm to yourself that you are safe, nothing bad's going to happen. And then when you have done that and you fucking smashed that and you've got through all your workouts on a bench in the middle of the weights area or in a different part of the gym or in a new gym, or you've been to the gym for the first time, you can then walk out that gym and be like, "Oh my god, I was fine. I literally had nothing to be worried about," or "I made a friend in the gym today because I had a joke that I came with them." Like little things like that. And you'll start to get more and more and more comfortable by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And because of that, confidence will flourish as well. And not only will that help you, of course, on your fitness journey, but it'll also help you in other areas of your life as well. Like, I remember way back in the day when I was probably about 3 months into my fitness journey when I had my own coach, and again, I was pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and I started to kind of like teeter into the weights area, getting some dumbbells, but then I also remember that when I was in the office, I started to do other things. Like, I started to ask to be in client meetings, I started to ask to present towards like some of our biggest clients. I ended up going to a meal with one of our big clients as well. It's something that I never thought I'd do, and because of this, the next time that I had like my one-to-one, I ended up getting promoted from like a midweight midweight creative producer to a senior creative producer. And that was like absolutely mad. And that was because of me pushing out of my comfort zone. That started to reflect on other areas of my life as well. So yeah, even little things like that. And there was like before I started my fitness journey as well, I didn't know how to drive because previously I lived in London, didn't know how to drive. We had the tube. And then when I moved back up north, the ex that I had at the time was driving. So I was pretty much passionate to Pinterest all the time, didn't need to drive. And then eventually I was kind of like, I need to learn how to drive. Well, we ended up breaking up, and I was like, I need to learn how to drive. I'm not sure if I can learn how to drive. I didn't think I was the person that could ever be able to drive. And eventually I was like, fuck it, I'm going to make myself be the person that's going to be able to drive. And again, that's because, I was pushing myself out of my comfort zone in other areas of my life as well. So, for example, if you think of a successful woman, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's someone that you admire on social media. If you think of a successful woman, have you ever noticed that successful woman or successful women in general are the ones that do the hard things, whether they feel like it or not? And that is not a coincidence, because they lean into that discomfort and they know they will grow because of that. They know that they will develop. They know that it's good for them. And again, it's just going back to that. If you stay comfortable, you stay the same. If you're not happy where you are in like one part of your life or multiple areas of your life, it is time to get uncomfortable. So how exactly does this comfort lead to growth? So like I was saying before, your body and your brain adapts to the stress that you purposefully place under it, or the stress that just naturally gets put under it as well. So for example, like with your body, your muscles grow and get stronger when you challenge them with heavier weights. Or for example, if you are training for a marathon and you're pushing yourself on your runs and getting that little bit more distance, you're speeding up, you're trying hard routes with more hills and things like that, your body will then adapt to the stress of those runs, to the stress of those bike rides, swims. If you do boxing or fighting and things like that, if you do a sport like rugby, again, as you have progressively harder matches, your body will adapt alongside that as well. As I was saying before, like your endurance will build when you push past fatigue, and your body gets stronger by adapting to that stress, but only, and this is super, super important, only if you push past what is easy and what is comfortable. Because a lot of times, like when I get form feedback videos from my clients and they're doing reps, and I will challenge them when they send me a video over that, let's say it's shoulder press, there's no grindy reps, there's no like they're really pushing on the last rep, they don't like try again for another one and get halfway up and fail, like it just gets that 10th rep and stop because they've hit the end of the rep range and that's it. Whereas no, you've got to keep pushing, you've got to push. Like even if your rep range is like 8 to 10, don't just get to your 10 and stop. That rep range is a guide, it is not Bible. Keep pushing. If you get above your rep range, this is a sign to go up in weight. Well, depending on a certain exercise, you might end up like, let's say if you're doing shoulder press or lat raises, and your rep range is 8 to 10, you might get to 15 or 20 before you go up on weight, because we all know that it's a small movement. Whereas if it's a leg press, for example, and you go and your rep range is 8 to 10 and you get 11, you might just add like another, I always call them biscuits, but basically a 1.25 aside, and then just see what happens and aim for that 8. That's what you're doing in that situation. And again, if you try heavier weight and you get 6 when you're meant to get 8, that's okay, at least you tried. Next weight, warm up, try that weight again and see if you can get a 7, and see if you can get an 8 and kill you in your rep range. But again, instead of it's something that I will challenge my clients on. If I see them get to the end of their rep range and then stop, and there's no grinding reps, there's no ugly faces, there's no weird little noises that they're making, like I know that there's more left in the tank there, and I will call them out on this. Because again, I'm not letting my clients stay comfortable, because if I let them stay comfortable, they're staying where they are, and I do not want that, because I know they have goals that are important to them, and my goal is making sure that they achieve their goals. So yeah, with weights, if you are always lifting the same weights, if you are never challenging yourself and never getting those grinding reps, your body won't change. So if you have physique goals, that won't happen. And the second you do start pushing past those limits, that's when that growth happens. That's when that strength development happens, and that's where those physique changes will happen as well. And the same thing with your mindset and with your mental resilience as well. Your mind, just because it is a muscle, your brain is a muscle, and just like any muscle in the body, your brain will adapt to this stress. So every time that you do something hard, so for example, let's say it's I don't know, you're presenting to clients like me, that used to be one of my fears, is presenting to like really high up clients in this business that I used to work at. Because if you don't know, I used to be, I said before, a designer. So when we had to present to clients, and sometimes some of our biggest clients, that was pretty much like half of the business's funding, and we'd have to present to those, that was fucking shit scary. But again, every time that I did that, every time that I stood up and presented, I proved to myself that I could do that. I proved to myself that I wasn't going to do anything stupid. And if I did do something stupid, I could just giggle about it, make a silly joke about myself, and then crack the fuck on, because at the end of the day, I am human. They know I am human. They are humans as well, even though they're like very intimidating humans. They are humans too, and they've probably balls upon a meeting or balls upon a presentation at some point in their career as well. So yeah, every time that you do something hard, every time that you do something scary, you prove to yourself that you can handle more. And this builds mental resilience, not just in fitness, like just one more rep, I can do another rep, I'm done when I'm done kind of mental resilience that you will have in the gym, that you need to build in the gym in order to build that intensity. But it'll also build that resilience in business, in your career, in your relationships, and in life as well. And the more that you do embrace that discomfort, the more confident you'll become as a result. The thing is that the more that you do push yourself out your comfort zone, start doing things that are scary, and then you realise, yes, I was scared of this, but I fucking handled it. That confidence comes from having that trust in yourself, by knowing that you will be okay. oh God, it must have been a month ago now that I went to Bulgaria to see my dad and my little sister and my dad's girlfriend. I have never been in an airport on my own. I have never travelled in an airport on my own. I've always either been with my dad, my mum when I was a little kid, or partners and friends when I've been in an airport. I've never been on my own. And I even did a story on this on my Instagram. Admittedly, I was really nervous about this. I was quite anxious about this because I was like, oh my God, what about if I do something stupid in security? I get stuck into the room to get interviewed, maybe something beeps and goes off, maybe I don't get my suitcase on the other side, like maybe I miss my flight, maybe I don't see my time on the board, like what happens when I get to the other country, like when I get through their security, like all these things were going into my head because I am human at the end of the day and I have these thoughts too. But I calmed myself down. I was like, no, I'm just going to see it like I'm going catching the bus. And I'm just going to go through because I've been through all these things. I've looked at the flights on the board before when I've been with people and I've found my plane. I was going to say train then. And I've found my plane. I've travelled up and down the country on trains and I was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm just catching a train. That's all. And I just kept reaffirming to myself, it is no different from catching a train except you have the security, which you've been through a million times before, and sometimes gone into different lives of my friends and things like that, and it's okay, you've done it before, you can do it again. And yeah, all the way through Manchester Airport, easy breezy, no issues at all. Got to Bucharest, which is in Romania. My dad lives in Bulgaria, but he travelled up, different story for a different day, but yeah, he travelled up and I got to Bucharest. Now, me, not even thinking, I didn't buy my data for my phone because like my SIM only works in the UK. It doesn't have like a European pass or anything like that. But I didn't buy it before I got to Bucharest. I didn't buy it before I got into Europe, which meant that on the other side, I didn't have any Wi-Fi or data to contact my dad because me and my dad only speak through Facebook Messenger. Now I've tried to log onto the airport's Wi-Fi and I managed to do it, but only for a short period of time. And then as soon as I got through security, there must have been like loads of people logging on after flights. I couldn't connect to it. Now I tried asking the airport information lady, like when I got out and got through security, got to like the not departures bit, when I got to the arrivals bit, I tried to ask us for information, like, do you have another Wi-Fi? And I was like, no, just that one. I was like, is there nothing else I can do? And they were all kind of unhelpful. But I couldn't find my dad anywhere, and I couldn't speak to him because I didn't have any data, and I was fucking freaking out, and I was like, okay, what do I do? And I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to rummage around the airport. I'm just going to wander around the airport, see if I can find him. If not, I'll go back to arrivals and just stand there. Just stand there and wait, like my mum and dad told me to do when I was a kid. Pretty much, or until everyone buggers off and I can get onto the Wi-Fi and speak to him. So that's pretty much what I do. And as I was walking around, I ended up finding my dad. No issue about that at all. There was also a bit of a crazy thing coming back as well. But again, I handled it, I sorted it. And even though things didn't go to plan, when I travelled on my own, I sorted it. And because of that, my confidence in myself went up because one, I know that I can travel on my own, and if something does balls up, I can get myself through it. And two, yeah, I can get myself through situations when things go fuck up. So again, it just gives me that more faith in myself and gives me more confidence in myself as well. So yeah, hopefully that's a good example for you. But again, that is what happens when you stop running away from comfort and start running towards discomfort. Yeah, strength, both physically and mentally, is built through that resistance. So it's a good thing when you go, oh shit, this is hard, or oh shit, this makes me feel uncomfortable or anxious. Oh, good. Just like when I moved from a new gym, when I moved from Pure Gym to Ascendancy, the first week that I PT there, I did feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I said this to a couple of my clients as well. But every time that I had that, I'm a little bit, I won't call it like uncomfortable, well, it's not uncomfortable in a bad way, never is. But when I did feel that discomfort, I'd say to myself, good, I'm growing. Like, this is helping me. This is good. And I'd reaffirm that to myself. So how do we start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable? So the first thing is to stop negotiating with yourself. So your mind will always try to talk you out of doing the hard thing, just like with me going to the airport and being like, oh shit, what about X, Y, and Z? X, Y, and Z can happen. Or with me moving over to a different gym, my mind came up with a million reasons why I shouldn't move gyms and all that X, Y, and Z because of X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the day, it wasn't because of those things, because I had no proof of those things happening, that all those things was going to happen. Basically, my mind was going, no, you are comfortable here, we are safe here, we should stay here, whereas that is only going to stop me from growing, stop me from helping more people, all of that, stop me from becoming a better coach, essentially. And the key to this is stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting until you have all of your ducks in a row, or you essentially have all the evidence that everything is going to be perfect, because that will never ever happen. You don't need those special signs. You don't need those ducks in a row. You don't need that motivation. You just need commitment and that trust that even if things don't work out perfectly, even if you go to the airport and you don't buy fucking data on the other side and you can't find your dad, like, you will sort it out. You will be okay. A really good example of this is, well, yeah, like I said, like, you will be okay at the end of the day. Next thing is to purposefully chase the hard things. Actively seek out challenges. Like, if something kind of makes you go, oh, I'm not sure if I could do that because it seems pretty hard. I was actually having a conversation with a client the other day who was like, I'm really interested in high rocks, but when I watch them do classes, like high rocks classes, it always looks really, really hard. So I'm not sure about doing it, but I'm not sure if I feel that way because I'm currently not fit enough for that, or because of X, Y, and Z. And those kinds of comments, that's where it's like, right, okay, this is a challenge. Clearly you want to do it because you've got some kind of intrigue to it. But if you're kind of like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because it looks uncomfortable, that is a sign when actually you should flip that and do it because it's uncomfortable instead. So actively seek out challenges, whether it's lifting heavier, whether it's waking up earlier. Make yourself a morning person. You don't do X, Y. You're not the person who does X, Y, and Z, but maybe you want to be the person who does like X, Y, and Z. Then do it. You're not like the person who like journals or meditates or does this, that, and the other, or the person who meal preps or is dead organised with their food. If you want to be that person, but you have labelled yourself as, I am not that person that does X, Y, and Z, do it, because that's making you uncomfortable in a certain way. So that's making you uncomfortable for whatever reason. So push yourself towards that. Good, that's a sign that you should be doing that. Or maybe it's even doing something that scares you. Maybe it's asking that lad out. Maybe it's going on a blind date. Maybe it's asking your boss for that raise, which was something that terrified me. I remember being in, like, I can't remember what the fucking called anymore. Is it appraisal? A yearly review or something like that? It's been that long since I've been self-employed. Yearly review where they like go over your progress and stuff, and sometimes you might get like a little bonus, or you might get like a fiver raise or something like that. So I'd have these meetings, and I remember one of them, I just said, like, I want to be a senior designer or a senior creative producer, and I was like, I want to know what I need to do in order to get there. Now, for me to ask them that was fucking terrifying, because essentially what I was asking for, yes, of course, having the more opportunities to work on bigger projects, doing things like presenting to clients, having more responsibilities in the company. I was also asking for a wage rise. I wasn't going to do all that stuff for free. Well, not for free, but because obviously they were paying me. But I weren't going to do it without having a reward involved. Like, obviously, I do want to get payment for that extra responsibility, extra work, all that stuff. So for me, asking that was fucking terrifying. But the response that I got from that was absolutely brilliant, because they were like, you know what? Yeah, fair enough. This is what you need to do. You need to do X, you need to do Y, you need to do Z, and we're going to put things in place to help you with that and help you develop there, but also to make sure that we are continuously to push you in order to get that. And you know what? That was the best response I could have. And again, that was fucking scary. But because of that, we had that action plan in place. I became a better designer. I started presenting to clients. I started managing junior designers in the office as well. And because of that, next review, got pulled in the office, got my senior creative producer role. And of course, the wage rise that came on top of that as well. So again, by doing that, yes, it terrified me. Yes, it was uncomfortable. But because of that, I grew, and I got good things from it. And this is always going back to, the more discomfort that you face, the stronger you become, and ultimately the better your life becomes as well. And if it's in terms of health and fitness, the better your health and fitness, and of course physique, will become from that as well. So as a really good example of this, like continuing to push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of, there is an athlete called David Goggins. He's also a motivational speaker as well. The audiobook's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. It is absolutely incredible, and it talks about his journey, because he shouldn't be where he is. Like, if you listen to the book, you'll understand, but with all of the barriers that he's had and has in his life, he shouldn't be the athlete and the phenomenal man that he is. And David Goggins is one of the world's toughest endurance athletes, and one of his quotes is, when you feel like quitting, you're only at 40% of your potential. Most people never tap into that extra 60%, but you can if you're willing to go there. And you might not be able to get all that 60%, and it's not about that. It's like, again, it's when you're lifting and when you're at that shoulder press, when you get to that, oh, that's a tough rep. That's that 40. Can you do another? Can you get those grind reps? And this is when I'm resistance training, when I'm training legs, when I'm training my shoulders, whatever it is. When I'm training, I don't stop when I'm like, this is hard or I have had enough. I stop when I physically cannot move my arms. When I'm doing a shoulder press, I am done when I am physically done, when I literally cannot lift it, even if it's like a partial rep, even if I think it's going to be a partial rep, I'll still do it just in case. Because there has been a couple times where I've been like, oh no, I won't be able to get enough rep, or I won't be able to get like 7, and I end up getting 10. They've been really fucking grinding reps, but I've done it. But again, that mentality of I'm done when I'm done will serve you so well, not even just in the gym, but also outside the gym as well. And this leads me really nicely into my next point on shifting your mindset on pain and struggle, because instead of pushing through the discomfort of gym anxiety, or if you have anxiety of speaking to someone that you like, just making friends, just speaking to like, I know I used to have a proper fear of speaking to people in public. Every now and again it does still flare up. And again, I have to keep on pushing myself out of my comfort zone. But even little things, because I just didn't like being on the phone, I couldn't answer the door. I remember going to Nando's with a friend as well, and this was before they had a little scanny QR code on the table where you had to physically go up and make your order, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't go up to the counter and order. I couldn't do that. Like, my friend had to go and do that all the time. Like, when I was in uni, like, I had to bring someone with me. Like, I couldn't do it on my own. So again, like, instead of avoiding that discomfort, pushing through it, which is what I did. Because of that, my confidence ended up going. But not only that, I can look back at these things now. I can look back at me being fucking terrified of answering the phone, and where I'm at now, and going, oh yeah, I've grown. I can answer the door. I've grown. I can push past those grindy weights in my workout. I've grown. I can present to people. I can teach classes. Again, that was a mad one. Me, the wallflower, the dead shy person, can teach a class of 20, 30 people is absolutely bonkers to me. But again, it's me being on stage. The girl who's looking like fighting at stage, who used to be at the back of pictures, I can stand on stage in pretty much fuck all clothes and prance around. Like, I've done that a fair few times, and it's just like, again, that's a huge, huge sign that I have grown. And if you're continuing to keep yourself in your comfort zone, you will never be able to look back and be like, fuck me, I've come so far. And again, that workout is proof that your muscles are changing. That discomfort when you're having that new habit, or when you're trying to resist going back into an old habit. So maybe you're sat on the sofa watching Bake Off, and you'd usually binge eat. Or actually, one of my clients, I've mentioned this on one of the other mindset ones. One of my clients said that she went to sit down and play COD, and her brain instantly went, Papa John's. I always get a pizza when I'm playing COD, and she had to resist that and go, no, that is a habit. I don't do that anymore. I'm just going to get some fruit and a diet drink of whatever, and I'm going to sit and play my COD. And that itch was still there, but that discomfort and that kind of like pull that she was resisting, what was happening there is essentially real-time proof that your brain is rewiring that like discomfort, that like feeling. That is your brain changing, and the more that you do that, I know obviously I've been through this on neuroplasticity, and it's like having that dirt track in the road. You're essentially making that new dirt track with that resistance that you're feeling. That is what is happening in that moment. So again, going through this like little section that I've been over, is that discomfort is never something to avoid. It is something to chase, and this is exactly the reason why I'm prepping again this year, when I was like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. Because it's uncomfortable, I'm doing it. It's not like, yes, obviously I want to win something shiny, of course, but I want to get through it, which I know I will. Like, I know I will, but I want to get through it and challenge myself, and challenge myself in ways that I have never challenged myself before. Again, I've never done bodybuilding. I've never gotten that lean. I've never gotten that lean that quickly as well. Yeah, completely different federations, completely different category. Like, it's mad, and I know it's uncomfortable, and I know it's very different, and well, good, I'm only going going to become a better coach because I am pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So how do we push ourselves on the daily? Do one thing every single day that gives you discomfort, whether that's lifting heavier, whether that's speaking up or saying something that you wouldn't normally say, whether that's saying no as well and setting those boundaries. Lean into the things that are hard, like specifically because it's hard, because it'll make tomorrow easier. Or better yet, instead of those 500, why don't you do 1,000 and then take it off the next day as well? Train your discipline muscle. And what I mean by this is setting a daily non-negotiable. So for example, it can be something that gives you a little bit of discomfort. Some people do this with like an ice bath, or at the end of the shower they'll just switch the shower on for cold for like 10 seconds just to be like, this is uncomfortable and I'll be okay by it as well. Going out for a walk in the rain, that might be something that gives you a little bit of discomfort. Do it. That's the exact reason why you do it. And what you can do on this too is tracking your progress of hard moments. So if you do journal, you can write these in your journal. Today I did this and it's pushed me out of my comfort zone. Or if you don't journal, you can literally just have like an A5 piece of paper or a digital notes page on your phone, just where you can track in the hard things that you've done recently, just so when you are having those feelings of doubt, you can go back on that growth journal. And again, when you've done it and when you realise that it's fine, it's not as bad as what you thought it'd be, write it in that little growth list or your journal as well. And as well, super important is surrounding yourself with people who push themselves. So this is really, really important, because your circle, it's always kind of like, oh my god, what is that quote now, where you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if the people that you spend the most time with are lazy, if they're entitled, if they constantly seek comfort, if they might not be in the best place health wise and physique wise, and you're hanging around with these people, guess what? You're going to be the 5th. You're going to be the other friend. Now, I'm not saying like bin off your friends, not at all, but maybe it's a case of you have another social circle who are the people that you aspire to be like. And maybe it's that you get a friend, or you start speaking to someone of who you want to be like, whether that's someone who's in peak physical condition, whether that's someone who's owns their own business, maybe it's someone who's constantly pushing themselves out of their comfort zone, trying new things. Find a new circle. And again, it doesn't mean bin off your old friends, of course, keep them, but find a circle of people who are pushing themselves out of their comfort zone, who are seeking growth, who are constantly learning, and are of the vibe that you want to be as well. Because at the end of the day, growth and energy is contagious. And if you're, again, hanging around with people who are not in that mindset, again, like, you're also you're going to have a very fucking hard time to be and stay in that mindset. And I know, because I've been there, unfortunately. So, summarising the whole of the podcast, if at the end of the day, the life that you want, the physique that you want, the business and career that you want is on the other side of discomfort. The more that you avoid it, the longer that you will end up staying stuck. And the more that you embrace it, the faster you will grow as well. Not saying that, I mean, again, if you want to grow super, super fast, and if you want to develop super, super fast, of course, challenge yourself every single day. But maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you want to do once a month. Maybe you want to do once a week, every other day. Or maybe it is that you're at the point where you're like, no, fuck it, every single day I want to get to where I want to be now. Again, depends on the speed. You can choose how often you push yourself out of your comfort zone. So, on saying that, today I want you to ask yourself, what is one thing that you can do that makes you uncomfortable? Maybe, again, it's that lifting heavier. Or maybe it's going to the gym like more than what you've been doing recently. Maybe it's meal prepping. Maybe it's waking up a little bit early to read a little bit of your book or to do some journaling. Whatever it is, do it. Like, set that time and put it in your calendar. Whatever it is, do it and watch how you level up. And if you're also done with playing small as well, and if you're ready to push yourself harder and finally get the physique you want, and most importantly, the mindset that will get you the physique that you want as well, the physique that you know that you're capable of getting, that is what I am here for. I do have a few spaces open for one-to-one online coaching. So if you want to find out more about that and how I work, prices, how my coaching service works, then my Instagram handle is in the caption below, whether that's on YouTube and or on Spotify. So just visit that, shoot me a message over. I'm not a sleazy salesperson. I'll send you over all the information that you need to know. And if it sounds like your cup of tea and it sounds like we will get along, then we can get going whenever you're ready. And if this episode fired you up, then I want to screenshot it, tag me on Instagram so I know that you have listened to it or watched it, so I can thank you. And if you know of someone who you're like, you know what, this podcast will be absolutely perfect for them, this person needs to hear this podcast, then I'd really appreciate if you shot that over to them as well, because at the end of the day, I just want to help as many people as I can with this podcast too. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble as usual. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon and evening, and I'll see you on the next episode.